Hi guys, you're watching Total War Tactical. I'm Tao, and this is Total War Battlefield, where I talk about tips, tricks, and tactics you can use during campaign play or online against other players. Here we go. Episode 2 is all about the use of reserve units and the envelop maneuver. Both of these will be covered in greater detail on their own in future episodes, so look for that if you'd like to know more. So the footage we're looking at today is from real early gameplay from a Let's Play that I started to do for Medieval 2 Total War English campaign. So in this situation here, I'm using my force to attack a Scottish army that has a second similar sized army, reinforcing them. In total, their number's about double mine, but because not all their units start on the field together, I know I won't have to deal with all their units all at once. This means my best chance of victory is to eliminate the first group of Scottish forces before their second wave hits my lines. There are multiple ways to accomplish this, but in this case I knew my next fight would be a siege battle, and I wanted to eliminate as many hostiles as possible to make that next battle that much easier. So what you are seeing here is me constructing my formation, which is the foundation for the envelope that I pull off later. And there's nothing fancy about it. It's simply 2 units of peasant archers in the front, and this is so my archers can get off a couple extra volleys before they have to fall back when the enemy charge comes. Behind that, I place 2 units of spear militia supported by another reserve unit of spearmen, and you'll want to keep your eye on that reserve unit throughout the battle. And finally, I have my general and light cav on my left flank and my 1 unit of heavy cav on the right. So now what you're seeing is I can see where the enemy is coming from, and I'm just adjusting my formation, keeping the same setup that I had before. I'm not mixing it up in any way, I'm just keeping the exact grouping as I had, but making sure that the enemy's going to hit my line head on. You can see what I meant by allowing my archers a few extra volleys. They're able to engage the enemy archers without having to fall back or having to have my spear units absorb that arrow damage. And because I outnumber them when it comes to archer per archer, they're easily whittled down rather quickly. So now the enemy is well enough in and close enough to my line. My archers are falling back due to skirmish mode. They've charged their cavalry in, and they're trying to hit my sides, but because I pushed my cavalry out to the side, which is the first step of the envelope, I can converge them back in and use my reserve unit of spearmen to make sure that I can annihilate that cavalry force that just attacked me easily. So now I'm just collapsing my cavalry units inwards, trying to cut off any route of escape that the enemy may have. I'm just taking my archers off of skirmish mode, placing them back in position where range is easily done, and you see that cavalry envelope where I've swept around the rear and on the sides and either forced them to fight my cavalry or my spear line has a 9 units that they've sent in so far. So goal 1 has been accomplished. I've annihilated that first force off the field. That way I didn't have to deal with the full strength of the Scottish forces, which easily outnumbered my men, outclassed them. You notice I have no chevrons outside of my general. The Scottish forces had all sorts of veterancy on them. So I'm going to attempt at this point to do the exact same thing I did previously. I want to repeat this process just on the next force that's in. You can see it seems that there's only one unit by some weakened units of spear. Looks like town militia, spear militia, and as well as 2 units of cavalry, one being the general's bodyguard, light cavalry border horse. And you can see that at this point I have reformed my lines and I have set up in the exact same position I did, right at the crest of a hill. It's a shallow hill, and I'm just going to straighten things out a little bit again, get a bit better positioning. You want to make sure that your formation is going to take the hit head on. So while we're waiting for the battle to go, I want to talk about reserve units. It's always great to have reserve units in your force, in your formation that is, because it allows you great flexibility with what you can do. Because I was able to use that reserve unit to protect the flank when those light cavalry came in and hit my spear line on the left, it was able to quickly redirect itself to the side and assist taking that out. That way I didn't, potentially have a route there because of a flanking morale shock. Alright, my archers are in range now. They're starting to fire on the Scottish Highlanders. And my cavalry is just milling about in BD. So what I've tried to do here is I'm trying to fire my arrows on the 2 outermost units to try to force them in towards the center and narrow their lines. That way my cavalry don't run into any problems when they shift out to the sides. So again, I'm going to push out 2 units of cav to one side while pushing out the other unit of cav to the left. And you see again, there is another cavalry unit pushing and flanking onto my archers. But because my spearmen are sitting in reserve, they're easily redirected to deal with that threat. As is my general. I can safely remove my archers while keeping the cavalry engaged, and you see that all the Scottish forces are engaging that main front line. So they're distracted. They're completely unaware of what's going on around them. I get my general back moving around to the side, and you saw that I placed my other 2 units behind. I take that 3rd unit, that reserve unit, of they've dealt with that threat. I send them into the fray. I crash my cavalry into the rear, and at this point, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do to keep from being surrounded. I just have to move my troops in and seal off any gaps that are left. I run down anyone escaping is easily surrounded, and the morale shocks. They're at this point, and at the same time, my troops are just cutting them down. So, guys, thanks for watching. I hope I helped you out, and I hope you learned something that you can implement in your gameplay. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of Total War Battlefield.